First, my Vandana and refuge to my Master, Sri Sambuddha, the Dhamma and the Sangha, and also my Vandana to most senior, most inspiring, which is something similar, which I also would, not as much as Bhante, but the Himalayas, the Hindu background and the Buddhist the background both coming together in our lives. So it inspired me. Sometimes I thought, oh, that's how Bhante is going like that, without any, especially in India, it's such a rough place. So my Vandana to Bhante is a pleasure actually for me, and also a bit nervous for me to be speaking of very senior, most senior Venerable still left in this planet. The gems still we have. So only maybe after they pass away, people will more appreciate or realize. And welcome all blessings to friends in the Dhamma and our brother monk, especially Venerable. I saw his. I happened to go through the book of Bhante's in India. Then you are a layperson, right? Yeah. There, I think translating. Yeah. That's, I saw the picture in one of the books I just went through. Then, so I see Bhante has brought you back here, close to him.
Just for the benefit of them, I'll say this is Bhante Ananda. He's my only monk disciple that I ordained myself, who stayed as a monk, and so I've invited him to spend his Vasa season here with me.
Okay, but he has not been all the time here. He's just come for the Vasa only.
Yeah, he just arrived hardly a week ago.
Oh, okay. All right. So, friends in the Dhamma. I have some few points I would like to share. So, something not very similar, but I would say from my young age I have been sort of curious and had a deep yearning to know something or know a perfection, actually. So whatever the environment I was there in, after a long time I had to speak English. The Sri Lankan people have this thing in my brain to Sinhalese for long years. So otherwise there was a time I could speak in Sinhalese when I was brought up in southern Africa, Lesotho. I don't know whether you know this area. So, but anyway, that was my tapo bhumi, also my meditation land, I would say, or awakening land. Because so before that, I was with my father's environment, the where I was brought up, my father being an engineer. Those days, I was thinking, how to make a vehicle go on water. Because I thought water is easily available, and so like you can then have the vehicle running forever. So this was there, and then once designed a machine called non-stop machine, but I had no ideas of physics and the laws of friction. So I can see that I was yearning for something perfect, and then I came across science, especially physics and the theory of relativity, and that fascinated me, especially the time dilation near the speed of light, that time can be stretched and so on. So to make it very short, I am not, those last programs I give a background a little bit. So those things I also, at the time I was very curious at 14, 15 in that country. I started to read every book I was able to get hold of. So my mother had a lot of books, even religious books, and some suttas, the Sakkapanya, that book. It's where the Lord King of Gods come to meet the Buddha, and he makes him also a stream entrant. But also the commentary explains something about that dimension. Like 1,000 years on earth is one day there. Like that sort of, then there are the cosmology, the Buddhist cosmology, like eon is one day in the the higher, more higher, like that. So that looks fairy tale if you just keep it, like separately. If you read it only that material. But then when I came across this, that the time can be stretched, that's becomes not a possibility. It's a fact. Not after scientists find out, that doesn't mean the laws start to work. It has been always been there. So that really made me believe that especially the King of Gods and all other things were really true. And that helped me to pass my exams, because I have been, thinking about all these things, and I have not been studying at all at school. So I remember I knew that these states of consciousness or higher beings are powerful. So like midnight, I used to keep the test papers, English language. I remember the English language, English literature, and especially the essay has a lot of marks. So essay title, I kept all the previous papers, and through relativity I built up faith. And when I knew I had no doubt, I was connected. This is how I thought that one time. And then actually I predicted, the essay titles. 2 essay English language, English literature. And next day, of course, I didn't tell my parents or father what I was doing. And I told my father to go to my tutor and get 2 essays written under these 2 headings. So my father went, and the tutor was wondering whether I have not studied everything, why I'm just focusing on 2 headlines, the essay titles. And then he wrote anyway. So I went after 2 days. Like we have every other day the exam, different exams. So this paper was after that. When I got the paper, I could see these 2 headings. And that was like a real beginning for me. It was my first meditation, I would say. And I didn't care about exams, school, nothing. I felt like the universe, some part of the universe in my hand, under my, so then, but still I didn't get ideas of ordination and so on. Actually, Bhante, I read a little bit of Bhante's there. He said, everybody asks, why do you ordain, and so on. It's not just a simple question we can answer. There is a kind of a whole, process to that. So it's not a simple, the person to get this idea is a very, very, big evolution, I think, coming from previous life, even to just to think, I want to ordain. So anyway, that time, then after that only, I was keen to know. I thought to know more about this. I thought I must study astrophysics. Okay, I thought, Einstein, he was like my hero. So, in fact, to New Jersey, Princeton, MIT, all these places I happened to apply at that time, and waiting for my results. And then, age of 18, 17, 18, yeah. And meanwhile, I was very attached to cricket also, sports. I'd play a lot of to clubs and all that. I think in America it's not a popular sport. But I remember at school we had a very good basketball player. And he used to tell that he's from California. That's how we were able to dribble and so on. I never forget, only 2-3 Americans and all others were like from England, Germany, all other places. So anyway, after that, based on this, I used to go for walks for contemplation. I used to contemplate, think. I didn't think I was doing meditation. And then one occasion, like a flash, I would say, I don't know, it's like it just came to my mind, like anything that begins in time definitely ends. It was the mental picture, and I verbalized it that way. And for this understanding, there's no beginning, then there's no end. Like this, I reason out. And this is it, kind of feeling. And there was a mental picture of a monk also. And then I thought I should be like him, like this person called monk. Because I was also not very familiar with monks. When we went to Sri Lanka, when we were children, we just went to temple, then, tied in. In Lesotho, there was no temple, only few Sri Lankan communities those days, families, just a few family, but no temple, no monk, nothing, no spiritual, any support there. Some churches were there, of course, and of course the discourse were the religion there in school, in the international schools. So anyway, this experience made me like, then I told that evening to my father, I want to be a monk. I didn't tell all this what happened, but he knew I would not just say, and sort of he. So later on, I came to Sri Lanka. Just same year, we went to all the holy places, and then my grandma, through my grandma, I met this venerable, German Bhante, the wandering, actually a very special wandering monk. I didn't know that he was. I thought all the monks were like this actually, because this is the first one. But he used to come Pindapat, arms round. To my grandma's house once a month when he was in Colombo. Otherwise, he was on Charika, long Charika. Like that time also, he was like in his 79, like 80, close to 80, I think he stopped his Charika. Charika, you know what I mean by Charika? It's like wandering, by foot, walking, like Bhante has done a lot. And then, so this kind of Charika, he has also 29 years, I think, Venerable Gnanaloka Thero. So then he was so old that time when he came. I felt such an aura in him when he came there. But still, I had my own idea. I didn't think I have anything to learn from him. Anyway, there's another meeting we had on the road. Like he was on his wandering trips, and I was on my bike. And there, he really, with one word, he gave me some kind of answer. I must tell you, I reasoned out those days, with these speeds. Now, it didn't come this, I don't think it came this impermanent or, like kind of experience. I remember I reasoned out, if something goes faster than the speed of light, okay, it's not possible. A particle, the mass increases. It goes back in time. Mathematically, it shows it goes back in time. So I reasoned out memory is that like a speed. So then I thought meditation, like, intuition and all that, it's more faster, more speed. And it will come to a point where time will stop. This how I had a kind of a mental picture. So anyway, after this experience, I was like not, it was very, and then I didn't want to go anywhere. I want to be a monk because I saw even the mountains that was in front of me, like there is it's a nice area, Drakensberg, just past the Drakensberg mountains. Lesotho is called the Switzerland of Africa actually. So very plain and really nice for solitude. So I saw even the mountains like jelly. So what to tell about, like for example, the university buildings of Princeton, they're like, that will also just disappear one day. So anyway, this was the beginning. And then we went, and when I met my teacher, again in his this thing, he directed immediately to the suttas. Okay, Buddha's original words. Actually, he told me to read the Satipatthana Sutta, everything will be okay. And he told me the bookshop also. It's like those days there was only one bookshop in Colombo. It's called in the Green Path. So I went there and then started my journey with the sutta. Okay, reading the sutta, applying it. In other programs, I have told how, because sutta is like a meditation object. So you have to, it's those times, in the Buddha's time, when Buddha saw when the person was ready or prepared, his faculties were mature. Then only he told this certain type of suttas which brought that insight for experiencing Nibbana. Okay, so it's not to be studied, but I see most of you are in really tough life, And I see you all. Don't worry now here, leave all these thoughts, okay? I know you can't smile artificially, you're really present with your real feelings and things, don't worry, okay? It's just a small drop in this moment can give you something, I believe, push, I hope, and start and to seize a blessing, whatever condition one is in life. I'm coming to that, okay? In the end of the program, I'm going to give a small gift. right? So from whatever some Himalaya energy, all right? Himalaya is nothing but compassion meditation, karuna. I realized those days we have read books about, autobiography of yogi and all that. So you have this Mahavatar Babaji and all that. So initially, we were just expecting to meet such people when I first went as a young boy. So later I came to the conclusion that entire Himalayas is Karaniya Metta Sutta, compassion. It's that consciousness. So that's many beings have gone there and practiced this. Actually, Bodhisattva and so on, and yogis, they're also like Bodhisattvas who are practicing properly. So anyway, with my teacher, when he directed me to the suttas, and immediately I knew how to use it actually, to apply it. To be in the present moment, to be mindful in the present moment, develop samadhi, to get that blissful mind first. And I know Bhante gets the blissful mind in a different way now, actually, because we have a similar, I think I get the Bhakti Yoga, I think Bhante, I don't know, from Bhakti Yoga, this kind of blissful, or Buddha Lamanapriti, I hope to put it that way, where the joy of the qualities of the Buddha or those noble beings, reflecting on that. And I tell, it's not just feeling, you should get a tear in your eyes, that opens up the energy fields. Takes all the grosser negative blockages very fast. Like you have meditated for hours, if you get that, because there's so much good energy, good karma, so this is very like a start. This is very important, I think. So then you get energy for practicing meditation. It is that's very important. Without energy, you can't do this. So Buddha's time also, this was given to beings who were. Now, you have the sutta, the third sutta. They are the Adita Pariyaya Sutta. There, Buddha doesn't talk to those, the jatilas, I think, or thousands of them, and I would call they are like rishis. He didn't talk about sila, virtue, or samadhi. They already had that. He goes directly to wisdom, and the entire paticca samuppada or condition. Explanation, conditioned nature is there. It's very nice in a very short form. The 6 sense organs, the 5 skandhas, and the conditioned nature, all in one sutta. Eye is burning. He put that they were doing this fire worship puja. So he relates to, contemplation and this thing, and that the desire as burning thing. And it's wonderful, the master and they become all arahants. So they were prepared, though they would have called them Hindus. It's not Hindus. They had purified, their minds were all purified and to the certain level, because for intuitive experience, most what disturbs or what blocks our intuitive experience of these teachings is the 5 hindrances. It's called. Okay, we can know it intellectually, and sometimes so the 5 senses and the 5 hindrances is the main thing that will block our actual intuitive experience. Now with Satipatthana, all this is practice, and this is a mindful meditation, all that. So if you can have more sense restraint, I will talk about even phones and all that, you can make your lifestyle more steady and peaceful, you will make these truths personal. This is very important for us to make it just not to hear our teaching, and then we have to make sure in this lifetime we will lose all doubt about the Buddha. That is really true. So anyway, I will come to that little later. But the important thing is then what happened? I met my teacher, and then I started reading and applying. And I have told in the previous programs so many times that how I had an auntie who gets angry. And so I happened to this Mahahastipadoppana Sutta. It is actually called the Elephant Footprint Discourse. Why is it called so? It is equating the elephant's footprint to the Four Noble Truths. That it is the highest idea you can have in the world. That all ideas, all knowledge can be put under that. So it is given like that. So it's very interesting, Sariputta. It actually shows the 5 elements. The Buddha doesn't show it in terms of electrons or protons at that time, but shows in terms of 5 elements, that hard nature, what we have as hardness, nature in this space, which we take it as our ego, and we use that we use it to. It's a concept actually. So this is what is within us, what we call hard, and what is outside. So when you look at it as something, when you really look into it, they're same. And then watery nature like that, in that way. And then when we actually analyze like that, take it apart, for example, we become empty. Empty of a person. And this way, there's also where we know that our consciousness, our feelings depend on this kind of body. So then we know that the body, the consciousness and the experiences we go through is also empty and not you. Like this, there's a way of analyzing, contemplating. Okay, I will tell it much later. So this kind of practices are there. So you have to do it personally, and then if someone comes shouting or someone praises you also, anything like that, you should be able to apply in the working place, in your family. I know people where the wife was able to practice like that, where the husband, then without reacting, just to be, that's good, because even inside, if you show that you're not reacting, but inside you have this people know that, and you make karma also. Okay, so I will come why I came here at this time. So the suttas were very important. This is how I started. And initially I was into the suttas very much. That means meditating, not like a study thing. I think it's a big corruption when the suttas are studied. So when I went to, not easy for me to give speeches like that. So anyway, the first trip I came to States was many years ago. I was invited by one American gentleman. I don't know, he was from DC, I think. Don't know whether they are there now. I met them last time. I told him I will come when I am an arahant. I am not thinking in terms of these names, but I thought I should be pure enough, or at least perfect enough, to come and come to this part of the world, or anywhere to teach or whatever. So I kind of meant it. Okay. So anyway, my life went on. Then I happened to start going to Himalayas, or Kailash especially, from 2008. And 2008 they didn't allow, so I stayed in India in 2009 and 10 I didn't go. Then 11 also I didn't go, 12, 13, 14 like that I started going. Every time it's high altitude, you normally everybody get altitude sickness, okay, it's normal. And but 2015, I also had some signs not to go that year. But it was the earthquake in the Nepal side, Kathmandu and all that. So there I was in Buddha Gaya. I felt that we were taking dana, lunch, when our tables were shaking in Buddha Gaya. Not shaking, like very slightly, and it's so unusual. Then I looked at the brother monk, and he looked at me, and then I said, we must go out. It's an earthquake. So then I went back after very short time, because I had many friends who helped me, or devotees, agencies and all that, who helped me to go to Kailash up till that time. So I didn't think of going to Kailash again, but I went just to be there. So when I was there, suddenly I found that I could get the permits and visas and everything. Kailash again is open in another route. So I went, but I had some definite, I would say, gut information and some kind of thing not to go. But sometimes I don't believe that when facts are that, I thought, why should I too much believe the kind of science and all that? That time I really went wrong. So anyway, I went on this. Do you understand my English? I don't know, Bhante. I hope it's not very, not practiced for a long time. Anyway, I hope I can convey the information. So then anyway, I went there, and there, from Lhasa actually. This is the first time I started to go by Lhasa, through Lhasa. And there then capital of Tibet, right? And then 3 days it takes for you to near the lake, Mansaro Lake. There's a picture of Bhante has taken from a very rare view, in fact. I have not seen in that view, like you have Kailash further away, and then I saw it downstairs or somewhere. So in that lake, actually, I happened to face a near-death experience. I want to cut short all the stories, okay, to come to more points. So my discourses are very long normally, 1 hour, not 2 hour, 3 hour. But please wait for 2 hours at least, okay? Then because we'll see. Then there I won't tell what happened for that to happen. That I suddenly felt tremendous weakness and breathlessness. So I went to tell my guide, to arrange for me a kind of a place to lie down, and they immediately arranged. It's about 10 o'clock or that time. They took long time to sort of give me a proper place to rest after we have come to that height. So then they knew I couldn't even tie my shoes, the boots laces, like can't lift my hand, like breathing for how long to go like that. So they brought a local Hore or somewhere. They called a local doctor. He came, checked my pressure. Pressure was high. Gave some local tablet, some kind of, they are kind of not a tablet, like a capsule thing. I took that, and I had to wait for next day for there's a helicopter, Attanagalla, there are helicopters that can take you down because you have to descend. There's no other real medicine for this. So what happened? We waited for the doctor to come in the morning. I just managed. I cut short. The time I felt really I'm going to leave was like 3 o'clock in the morning. I thought I can't go on like that, and then I was preparing myself. So we have a practice, actually already practiced for some time. It's like seeing from our body and our consciousness mentally from outside, okay, and then to see them as body, feeling, perception, what is made up of, the components, the skandhas. So this practice I was going to prepare myself, and before I did that, a thought came to me, like I couldn't give enough to the people, and it's kind of a regret. So I thought next life only what to do, and then I just made up my mind like that. So anyway, I survived that incident. That was the one that I thought I should have given something on the way. Should I not waited for, then I knew it's really, then it didn't work to 2015, but 16 I was recovering. I had some other problems also. I have been telling this, like Mara was hitting me that year, like behind, first the body, I survived physically, and I also had another, just after that, recovering physically. Somebody even asked, I thought it's not time for me to tell, like my robes were almost like, but to be removed. Not that, it was like terrible time, the worst in my life. So I would like to tell exactly what happened, but I don't think it's not the time yet. Bhante has nicely revealed so many things in his book, but a very interesting thing made me survive mentally. What you like, really what you desire only is really attacked by the Mara. So it pains you, it hurts you. So even if you like purity and all this, even that, sila and all these things too. So it was the way I think the sila and all that, my expectation, it was really challenged at that situation. And there, what came to my mind was not a proper English word, but I told to myself, don't egolize this. It's just a happening. Just don't egolize this. And that really made me, and I have told many people that whenever you have so much challenges and difficulties, there are gems in front of you. The main thing where we fail is that we don't continue. Okay, and even in the monk's life, I see like I had a similar type of obstacles coming again and again, even though practicing. Well, I can continue practicing. But one day I was a little bit fed up actually, and I had no senior monks to ask also. All have passed away, most of my teachers at that time. So one monk, I had some faith. He happened to come to that area, and I thought I put this question to him. I said, Bhante, I'm facing this problem again and again for so many years. Then he told me a nice thing that when you're striving, you get obstacles. You get, the Mara, he challenges you. And many people, what they do is when they get that kind of obstacle, they just go to him, they be with him, they give up the practice. But then he said, if the very few who really succeed, they continue. And now I think like Mara also get tired after some time if you continue to strive. So but anyway, he told me it's like be like a flowing river. You know, you put some dirt or something into the river, after 10 meters, it is clean again. So he said, you're also like a river. He encouraged me so much that time, and he's right. And as you go on, you continue practicing, striving, and it's mainly our ego. You know, like we identify so much with even purity, even our disasters, our calamities. We sort of try to, but if we continue, really we can really achieve. All the people who have succeeded, I believe, they face challenges, but they are the ones who really continue. They kept on jugging. Am I right? That's word, jugging. I don't know. I heard this word from one American gentleman. I think that is it right, Bante? Jugging?
Juggling.
Juggling or jugging? Keep jugging?
Jogging.
Not the jogging, Bante. Like I don't know.
Juggling means that balancing things.
Okay. And even if you like fail and go really down and you just keep on continuing, does that mean jugging? Like keep on jugging or something? I don't know.
Well, in English colloquial, we say keep on trucking.
Trucking, okay. Then I use that word. Okay. So yeah. That's the idea, because even very great people, if you find out, they have been doing that when they have really gone bottom low. Ones who don't, they just fall down, they break down. So that should not happen. It's a very important secret. So I see myself too that time, but this monk encouraged me a lot. So anyway, this is for me very that period. That's the one time. Then 2017, I came to do the first programs, right? Then after that again, 2018, 2017 or 18. Where's 17? December, the last, and they also called me for Vasa 2018. So now only I managed to come again. Even so, 2018 again I went to the Himalayas, Badrinath and all these places. I was doing my practice there and new places in that area. Continue to practice there. And Yala, I don't know, Sri Lanka, the national park. Many times there are very remote areas like the army camp, small camp. They gave me food and it was a very nice time. So I kept doing those things there. I don't think I did any special programs or anything. Anyway, it went on. 2 years back, I had another very special experience, which brought me to now this. It was a meeting through one of my old assistant in Buddha Gaya. He told me like he's always expecting me meditate. He's a Hindu, Indian, but he likes me too much and really believes that I'll do something. So his idea of spirituality is some kind of miracles. Like his baby is now there and he tells one day you have to create chocolate and give something like this. His idea like that, Bante, all this meditation. So anyway, there's one sadhu or one famous person now. He told me, Bante, you should go and meet him or see him. I'm sure he will, be connected to you. So when he tells something, he normally doesn't tell me like that. I am also not too interested to now go like that or meet anybody. I do even when I go to the mountains, I take the Samyutta Nikaya. But my luggage is mostly the Samyutta Nikaya, Majjhima Nikaya, like this, some of the now a lot of medicines. Not only these two, we are recovering now from a viral thing. Don't worry, I'm okay. It's not going to transmit to you. I was wondering in San Jose or somewhere. There was where did we go there? All the nuns were wearing masks. I was wondering whether they were frightened of me that I'm going to, or whether they have a virus that's going to come to me. Anyway. It's from a mosquito, so it's all gone long time, about 5 months now. Okay, but now I'm regaining some strength. I really lost a lot of strength and had to eat a lot, sleep a lot, like that, to recover. Sorry, I have sometimes like a blackout coming. Okay, what's the topic? I was explaining to you something, right?
You were going to meet that Indian monk.
Oh yes, sorry, Bhante, I don't want you to. You all must be alert. I hope you're not somewhere. And then what happened in that? Sorry, Bhante. Thank you. Then so I went actually. So because my devotee, he told me to go, the assistant actually, I went there. So he's famous for something, and he becomes super famous. Like lakhs of people are coming in India. Now even in India also, in all over the world actually, sometimes they have lost faith in, the robes. That whether they have any power, they think they are more materialistic, or like they know nothing in them. It's kind of like that. They have this idea, but time to time there are sadhus or monks or show something that there's something to the people. So he's someone like that I see, very young. What he does is like he's famous for that. He has a board-like thing, and he will call you from a personal information of you, maybe your telephone number, okay, or something. They try to call this or name, and they would come, and when he just tell them to sit down, and he would write. And then he asked, "Why did you come here? What's the reason?" They said they have cancer, they have this problem, that problem. And then he would say, he has written everything there. So he shows the board, and then, so this is how he's famous, and he tells some solution also. Okay, he gives a solution, some mantra to chant or something like that. And so he becomes very famous that way. So anyway, I went. When I went, the first time he was not there. I went, there's a mountain, actually Bhante has been there, Bhakish. I don't want to reveal the place actually, but I don't want to reveal the yogi also. But Bhante has been there, the mountain, that time not fame, nobody, it's just a very hamlet-like thing, a village. Very recently now it's like a very huge area full of people. And so anyway, I went there. But I made a determination. I wish I meet someone who had some more power, or some power that I could, help me on my path. I had this thought too. And I went another trip, second time. I felt like visiting there. Actually, I felt the energy very I could relate to. So anyway, when I went next time, he was on the same flight. There's a small flight to be taken. It was really coincidence. And then when we landed and all that, a lot of people, there. It was in the night, and then later he saw me from far, I think, and he called me in the car with his security and everybody. And I went close, and he asked me, "Are you going to that place?" I said, "Yes, sir." Then he told his security people, "Please bring this Baba or whatever." So I already had arranged my transport with the other people, so we followed him, and he was going to his home. I also have done programs. And he was going to meet his mom, like there. So then when we went to his house, it's a very poor place, very poor place, very small village. Still the house is not like very big or anything. And thousands of people there already, knowing that he's going to be there. So he went inside, he called me, and there was one foreigner also, and few people. Like he was in a throne-like thing, and then we were also seated. And then he told, I think he knew everybody there. And then he looked at me and said, "I want a minute with you." His English is not very good. He's like not educated at all. So they went and kept one person for translating. And he did the same thing to me. That told everything, like what's up, I'm up to, and what's to be done. And later on I met him several times without any, I don't have any influence. I don't have phones or anything to contact or keep any. But I was bumping into him any time he was there. And he told me the reason was that we have been brother yogis in the previous life. And later one day he came out telling, "This is not enough, not enough." And I asked, what is Swami, what is not enough? And he also didn't know. He said, "I will explain to you in my, room or kuti." So later that night, like 2 o'clock in the morning, there's so much crowd and people. So then when he came, when we were in personally, he said, your meditation is good, but you can do more meditation. You can do more. That's why I want to encourage you. And like that, he told me, you can do more and like that. So I went back and I did my normal practice. I must tell you that after I become a monk, I lived like mostly an ascetic life, like walking a lot, and first staying with my teacher and slowly always like 3 hours of Pindapata, and then slowly we used to stay in a Parappadu island hermitage in Sri Lanka. It's a nice place, and close to island hermitage there's a nuns monastery called Parappadu. So we were there actually with German Gnanaloka Bhante. And so he wanted us to go Pindapata. That's why, like those days also when I come for programs, I insist at least some kind of Pindapata, because just for his, this is also arranged Pindapata. It's not like just going out, it's a different thing, but still, I don't want, how he lived, at least a bit of it. Wherever I go, I would like to do it. So he insisted for us to go Pindapata. It was very tough those days. The food was arranged in Pulgastu, and so it's another story how we managed to finally start this. And then I started also, with his permission, go on small charikas, walking this thing, like slowly get used to that. And then it was like that, and like I was young also, so I used to walk from sometimes forest to forest there, and then the LTT, the terrorist areas those days, cutting across, then come for Vasa period to him, stay at Parappadu. So this way I use Samadhi more, because I was faced with too much physical this thing. Like Samadhi is a bit like anesthesia, or you don't feel the sense world too much, the heat, the cold, and so on. So I went extreme in that way. And I also had to stay with little rough people, like even my people in the surrounding area were not really supportive, but that was nice. I could practice more within me. It was not easy period in the beginning with my teacher. Teacher was great there, inspiring and this thing, but so my reading the suttas, analyzing, slowly diminished. Actually, I would say from day one of ordination. Before that, I did a lot. I was in it, and as a layperson. So this went down like that. So even in the Himalayas, I take the forest. Anywhere I go solitary, I take the Samyutta Nikaya. I know this had to be done. This had to be read and contemplated. But 1 page, 2 page I read and go back to Samadhi, concentrating. So concentrating means through Metta, Anapanasati. This way I got used to practicing. So little bit, only when I faced a real challenging situation, like once I was looked after by some robbers. It was in the middle of, inside the jungle. I don't know whether in Sri Lanka, Knuckles range, so cutting from Laggala to, that time I met Jnanadeepa Bhante also. I saw a picture of Bhante. That time he also told he got lost in that route. So he thought, okay, that he knew I was high spirited, and said, okay, once in a way, adventure. Then he really encouraged me to go. But I had a very tough time. Anyway, I had a lot of good luck, I think. Finally, I met these people, and they looked after me. And that was one time I realized Samadhi don't work with a lot of pain. Because to get Samadhi or that blissfulness, you have to have some physical comfort, physical, if there is lot of pain, it's difficult. So unless you have very powerful Samadhi, but still you will be affected by it. So then I changed to, by force, contemplating. So we have a way that, we read the sutta or in memory, like Anatta Lakkana, the no self sutta. So I applied, I was actually, I don't know whether you know these poisonous leaves, that's called, that has a kind of a mausa. So I said, do you know the name of mausa? Mausa kola?
Poison ivy?
In English, is it?
Well, we have poison ivy here.
Okay.
If you touch it, it gives you a rash.
It gives a rash, Bhante, and you can get a fever also. And I was thinking thorns were being pricked, I was going through the bushes of that, bush full of bushes, and then I was like, so in the forest we keep the robes, the double robe, all that, actually not like this. We would fold it and then sort of, put both robes on the shoulders and tie it so that the robes are protected. So when I was there, I thought it's thorns, but it was this. So all the, especially the head area, it was like I have been whipped. So anyway, when so many other things happened there. Finally, I came to these robbers. Robbers mean when they found me, they were surprised to find in the midst of such a jungle. So then I wanted to rest completely. So 2 days I stayed there. They gave me food and everything and showed me the way out. So when I was lying down, I thought I don't want to die like this. I had to come to some peace. So then I tried to get that samadhi. No, it's not possible. Especially the head area, you feel distracted. Then I remembered my teacher told to memorize some suttas which are striking. So that one of it was the 5 Kanda Sutta. 5 Kandas, and especially the Anatta Lakkana Sutta, no self Sutta. So that one, very simple observations, like you have the feeling and you face the feeling, you observe it, and then the feeling is suffering, already, to note it. And then it says, the way Pali it is said is, like say for example Vedana, Rupa Vedana Sanya, all it is applied, so they are not separate. So if you can take just the feeling, I took like that, Vedana Bhikkhave Anatta, the feeling is not yourself, Buddha says. Vedanaci hitam bhikkhave atta, why is it not yourself? Vedana abadaya is subject to affliction. Sangvatteya, you can't order the feeling. May the feeling be like this, may the feeling not be like that. Okay, this is very simple. If you can sort of think anything normally in life also, you can let go and leave that illusionary idea, this is me. So when I slowly started to observe like that, and there are not 3 ways of observing it, I felt the feeling was reducing. Then I realized, I was wondering, I was really feeling faith in the Buddha's teaching, in pain, that this pain is reducing. The pain is there, I was not feeling. Then actually that was one occasion I really felt very faith to the teachings. So after that, actually I have been practicing this skanda, kind of the 5 skandhas, and like a daily practice of this. So, but only when such a situation came. All right. Otherwise, I didn't specially go there, because in a gross way, when you practice, it's not a very deep experience. It gives you benefit. When your mind is peaceful, blissful, when you contemplate, only that contemplation has a possibility of making you enter Nibbana. That level of wisdom, clarity could come. Now, this is something because mainly I see also, like for example, technique based. There are 2 ways of practicing the meditation, which is very popular, is the technique based meditation. Okay, that is what the society mostly have experienced, but it is closer to the body. The observation is done. So with the still the nivaranas closer to the body, observation very tangible. It can be easily practiced actually, but whether the insights or the wisdom is enough is a bit of a question mark. Sometimes if I tell like this, it's a bit this thing to. But if you have enough samadhi and you get the insights, that means you are quite separated from the gross body. The insights could lead to a very concrete or very to a standard of where you are really entering the path and the fruit, what the Buddha expects. So anyway, this is how I practice. Then the practice diminished after I became it was diminished like that. So when I met this yogi, he told. So I went again, and when he told me you can do more, I practiced again. Did most same thing, samadhi more and little bit more, little reading, not too much. I came and met him again, and like when he was there, I like asked him, how is my practice? Like an X-ray, I was thinking, he might. Then it looked and thought and said, not enough. No, he did like this, I remember. He did like this. So everybody knows what it means, right? So he said, I will explain to you in the kuti. And when he went to his room, he told me, your samadhi is good, your like this is there, but your know me meditation is not good. Now the closest way to, like in India you have Ramana Maharishi, where actually I see him, he's taking as the body as no self, but there's no real analyzing, contemplating process which leads to like the consciousness and everything is not you, even equanimity feelings. So anyway, he told me like that. Then I knew, and he told, you have a book with you. I mean, I have this Samyutta Nikaya, nobody knows I have this book all the time. I'm taking everywhere. That he said, if you read this, everything will become clear. Everything will become clear. And he said, this know me meditation is the highest meditation. If you do this, we will have to search for you. Like that, he encouraged me so much. Like, so then I knew something wrong. This, I must stop this samadhi thing and I must really force myself to at least read the book. So I went back and I went to a new jungle. Jungle means a gulp puma it is, I have never been to that Aranya. I know long years, a kind of forest hermitage. So I went there and forced myself to read at least, not meditating, contemplating, fast. I read this Kanda, Vagga is called. It's about the 5 aggregates, what we are made up of, and that mostly it is repeating, that's not ours, it's not me. And most of the suttas made, when Buddha taught them, they became arahants. Okay, so this I started to live without even contemplating. I read fast, and then I met him again. Then 80%. That this gave me a lot of, I knew I'm on the right direction. And then I start to read the Salayatana Vagga, which is the normal order my teacher told us to read and contemplate, and then 120%. This inspired me to start immediately. There was a monastery being made for nearly 10 years from 2012. So they've also forcing me to sort of start this. So then I started this actually starting as a retreat place. So the idea was to give this in a retreat form, a certain, like a sequence of sutta my teacher has given us in the beginning, to give that for layman or a monk or anyone who wants to really master and practice this, meditating on the sutta, so they can have a taste of this. So this is how it started, and then anyone want to become a monk and who's capable of that, suitable to be that, so that happened. So this is how this started. Now I want to explain something about the teachings, because what I'm going to explain is something when when I was very peaceful, my teacher used to explain, and I used to really like him when he explains this. So it's regarding the consciousness, rebirth, and karma, how it's connected. You could call the technology or the mechanism of it. So these 3 things, very essential. So normally I like to explain like this. For example, when we die, we have 2 things happening. One is we have a last breath and we have a last thought. Okay. Before that also I want to explain. Have you heard of the 5 skandhas? Khanda. It's like what we are made of. We have a body, and we can really separate very distinctly. We have consciousness. Okay. We have, like, say, we have unconscious body. We have a body, the flesh body, and there's consciousness. So normally it's a 2 different things, right? But the consciousness needs a body, all right? So, but the how we know we are conscious. You see, for example, if, the slow motion, if you take it, I thought this explanation was very nice to sort of get some idea. Like you have the ear and an object, say a sound wave. This you can take as the material part, all right? So then initially this is just a flesh, okay? And then there's something happen, like initial sort of reflection or attention. This is like just the starting of consciousness, okay? The one factor of consciousness. So with that there's a sensation. That is the main factor of the consciousness, feeling. We have heard that. And there's something that judges the feeling or measures the feeling as pleasant, unpleasant or neutral. That is called perception, okay? And when you perceive as pleasant, there's something that reacts with greed, and if it's unpleasant, with hate, and if it's neutral, with delusion. That reaction is what we call karma we make. Okay, sankhara, or mental formations in English. Have you heard these things? So these are like the factors of consciousness. The Buddha really explains that. I tell people like in this part of the world who is closest, I think, who have explained about consciousness that is separate from the body, and some explanation from the ancient Vedic or Upanishadic knowledge is Deepak Chopra. Have you heard of him? And I think he is the one who gives some idea of, some clear idea of that the Western world. But in the Hindu tradition, you know, the highest that you could get there is the pure consciousness. I don't know if you heard about that. It's like pure consciousness, that's free from anger and greed. But to escape from equanimity, you know, the greatest finding in the Buddha I will see is how to escape from consciousness entirely. So it was not in the ancient time, and the Hindus or the yogis or bodhisattvas also found only a way to escape consciousness through another consciousness. But the main finding in the Buddhahood I see is to escape consciousness through wisdom. So through wisdom, creating so much dispassion, you know, even dhyana or samadhi, it's a state of compassion from, state of dispassion from the five senses. All right, so you have one thought, and when you have wisdom, you even leave that one thought. You know, like it's like minus. So especially the insight or intuitive experiences takes you further away. So it ends up in nibbana. All right, the completely desirelessness is because it transcends feelings and so on. So the factors of consciousness and the body, with the complete dispassionate to that. So then one has the experience of nibbana. Anyway, this consciousness, you must know at least this much, that is karmically you get that consciousness. To get a particular consciousness, you get what is supporting that, the type of organ we need, and the kind of stimulation, the environment. So these two come as karma from the previous life. So I believe that to really appreciate this, one has to have a background, some knowledge about karma. So I normally suggest Edgar Cayce many mentions. Have you heard this? Case studies and all that, how he explains, like he used to go into an unconscious state, and sometimes people, the problems they can't solve normally, he even suggests, like some remedy based. Sometimes he even suggests that he sees that in previous life, especially the Crusaders, certain things they did, how it's affecting now. Even my teacher, he had experience of like migraine, and there was no solution. Even he became a vegetarian, he said, to overcome his migraine. And he didn't go away, he said. Then when he became a monk, when he practiced Satipatthana, when the mind became purified enough, one day he had a kind of a vision, he said, where he saw like a soldier with a club, like the Crusaders that time, clubbing somebody. And then he felt the pain immediately. And then he woke up, he said. And then from that time onwards, the migraine went away. And then he realized that soldier was him in that life. So some sicknesses, some problems don't come until you see the karmic reason. So it's like that. When I say this, you seem to be like, some of you seem to have this, all of you seem to have this karmic problem, is it? Okay, don't worry. Be in the moment. The past, it's a thought, even if it's a problem. And future, it does not come. This is a nice way to little bit come to this moment. So this, one time I remember so many case studies, very nice. I hope you can refer that, because it's very important, now with karma and the consciousness, how it's connected and how you get the last thought, very important. Otherwise, it's no meaning to know that. Then the rebirth process. And what is this meditation? The main purpose of this meditation and controlling your emotions and all these things, what's the real purpose? It's not just to have a peaceful time in this planet. This should become real, that you are responsible to your actions. In the ancient India, and they had already a lot of knowledge about this, background knowledge, how when you're reborn, even how your karma is calculated, and sometimes if you don't have a clear karma, clear thing that will bring a clear rebirth, you're put into like a judgment too. These things I'm recently getting a lot of information myself, and it's really even whatever we are doing is accountable. Whatever we are seeing, the old days they had this knowledge. They call Chitta Gupta. I don't know. He writes our deeds. The olden time they had this, but this is not a joke. This is really happening. So when you know like this, because now when certain yogis, when they see you, they don't see your body. They see your karma. What karma you're going through now, and what the karma you did, and when it's going to finish. That kind of divine vision is there. So I have some, I don't know whether I could share it because I want to, might take some time. Because these are very important in even my own personal life, how they came and showed where I was stagnating, and what was the thing that was really, then it kind of reminded me to be careful in that direction. So that, so it was very helpful. Because otherwise we are just going on in this life, we don't know the same type of defilement, same type of actions coming out, and then it just keep on, our whole thing gets stagnated, our spiritual life, our material life, until it's clear. So karma, this one story I remember in Edgar Cayce, I want to just share that. There's the one lady who was very beautiful. She used to come, she had another problem, somebody to consult him. So in that consultation, when he became unconscious, she was very spiritual too, in New York or somewhere like that. And she had some other issue. And when she came, the way she earned her living was showing her beautiful hand. She had for jewelry and all that, they put the jewelry and the advertisement and all that, and that's how she earned her living. And then she was spiritual too. To see the previous lives, she has been a nun, and she has been a nun, and when she used to clean the toilet and everything, she didn't think it's yuck and all that, she really, with faith, she cleaned all that. That was the karma, she got that beautiful hand, according to Edgar Cayce. So like that, he has many very interesting, because I did explain sometimes you have kept something inside your mind, and how that has come, like not anger or bitterness or something, how it has now manifested in this present life. So it gives you very, so then you know how to clear, to make sure you don't keep your inner mind also in a very bad state. You will be very concerned to have good intentions and take things positive like that. So anyway, this thing I recently researched. Say for example, we know that when we are dying, we have a last thought and the last breath. Okay, do you think so? I have heard, like some people when they are almost dying, and other thing is very important. Before that, I will jump here and there. But now you must know the condition. Do you think we can ever get consciousness in free air or in a robot? So what do you think? The consciousness to arise, it needs definitely a body. All right? Okay, it's conditioned. Buddha shows that, that you have to have the ear, you have to have an external object, that is the ear has to be intact, the eyes have to be intact as an organ, and then you have the initial attention. These three coming together creates the initial, it's a conditioned thing. And like you can't have a sound striking your eyes and you hear from the eyes, okay? You can't see from the ears. It has its own special domain, all right, area. So it's conditioned, each consciousness comes conditionally with each organ, all right? This must be clear. Is it clear to everybody? This is because actually this is a very special point. Now I want to encourage you all to read the suttas hopefully and learn to have the Dhamma thinking. because so this is like one message I am going through. This is preparing also for a retreat one day of the Dhamma. If you want to become enlightened, if you want to get enlightened through the Buddha's instruction, this might be helpful. It's just like making you, little used to thinking in the Dhamma way, and that's what we are expecting as a meditation object when you're like in the walking meditation to analyze, to think of the Dhamma. So that is called Dhamma Vijaya Bojjhanga. It's the enlightened factor of one of the main, second enlightened factor. Other one is Sati Sambojjhanga, the mindful. So it has to go with not as an intellectual exercise. It must be practiced. A person who is also practicing to keep his attention in the present moment. So he develops samadhi through that. Okay. So with that, if you read and read the teachings, this is the way to you can get something somewhere. So these suttas are like that. You have to contemplate this way. So then this one thing I would like to know and tell you is like you have this, when you are like normal person, normally what he has done, the main karma he has done, it will come up when he's dying. Okay, the thought that will come up will be, so normally we have, for example, as a normal person, we are living a family life, and also we have office or working place. So these are the main places where we interact. All right. So when we interact, normally how do we interact? We will get attracted to what is attractive, and what is repulsive we will get repulsed. So with greed and anger, this will happen. All right. So if there are some major karma, like now you can see in the retreats, for example, if you are put in solitude, you find suddenly these thoughts that you never thought, this what you have done in the past, the memory comes up. So I tell people, when now they are going to practice with those thoughts and distracting thoughts, and when they put the Dhamma and the practices, these thoughts slowly diminish, or you learn to handle them. So this is actually, that's why it's called a process of cleansing. With this tapasya, this kind of meditation and practice is going to cleanse that bad karma. If you don't do this kind of things, what happens? This will come at the moment of death. And uncontrolled, you'll be, your destiny in the future will be driven. You'll find mostly it will be connected with anger or sensual desire. Because these are the strongest karma, especially when it becomes a physical karma. Physical karma get recorded very much. And sometimes the nature waits for you until you really, whether you change yourself. So just to tell you in a simple way, that otherwise you'll find yourself, so you have to correct yourself, the way you react, the way you behave. Otherwise it keeps on waiting until you pass the exam, life's exam. I really like to give, because I am trying to, the real personal experiences how regarding this with some of the yogis. But anyway, I want to explain one very important thing, make you do, then we can relax and I can go into other topics. So now when you, in the sense world, if you are a normal person and you have not done really bad things, so when you are dying, you will get an object and then you have the last breath, okay? So what do you think, so when there's an object, so what do you think normally a normal person can observe the breath? Think it's happening to you, okay? Can you observe the breath when you're dying, or you will be distracted by, actually due to karma and craving, we get distracted. And we want to, so now even this program, you heard from somewhere, and you had some desire, okay? So to hear it from somewhere, it's your karma. You can take it like that. And the drive to, okay, let me go and see, let me go, that's the desire. And you come. So you have some karma with me now. Okay, so it's just take it that way. So when you're dying also, you have some, you have the, due to karma, you get a nimitta, you call, or an object, okay? Last thought. And then you get distracted, we all have craving, okay, that normally we have. So we get to that, we get distracted. What do you think? You just think, like, it's very simple. Will you get distracted, or will you be able to keep your attention to the breath? Normally, no meditation, normally you are a good person maybe. What do you think? You get distracted, okay? So when you get distracted, is there causes for consciousness to arise or not? The object is there, the attention is there, will consciousness arise or not? It will? It's not a multiple choice question. You have to think, because I explained before you like sound waves, the ear, the attention, the conditions are there, consciousness will arise, okay? So like that now here with the mind you have attention, you have an object, and then you have craving still, so you get distracted, that's right. And so when you get distracted and when you get focused, that means consciousness will arise or not? The conditions are there, right? Okay. Okay. And so then rebirth will happen. All right. So I put this, my teacher explained it in a more quicker way, but I put another thing to get an idea more. Have you heard of a non-returner? Anagami. A non-returner means he has no karma in the sensual world, and he has no karma and craving for the sensual world. So he perfects, he becomes enlightened in the higher, Brahmalokas. Okay? So he has no desires here. Okay? So when he dies, when he passes away, he also has a last breath. Will you think he can keep the attention to the last breath, or will he be distracted by anything? What do you think? Do you thinking? But you don't want to tell the answer? Okay. All right. So normally you might think, normally people say, he will be able to keep the attention. All right. But is he totally free from craving? No. And is he attached to anything still? Meditation. Sorry? Okay, meditation or peacefulness or blissfulness or whatever, okay? So that's a neutral feeling, all right? So that when that feeling is experienced, he's not attached to five senses. He will not get a last moment. But the peacefulness, will it not be an object for consciousness or not? It will be an object. So when there's an object, will consciousness arise or not? Will arise. So then too also it will not happen. So for Arahant, what's the difference? He has no attachment, craving whatsoever, no karma to any feelings whatsoever, okay? When the last breath goes, you imagine, it's not a thinking thing, you have to like apply to yourself, to get used to your third eye, the wisdom eye, to kind of, to become, when the last breath goes, do you think he can keep his attention? Just think you became an Arahant. When the last breath goes, will you, if you don't have any attachment, nothing, will you be able to just settle to the breath, not attached to breath also? You will be, okay? So when you just imagine yourself, if you keep attention to the last breath, will there be conditions for consciousness to arise? Were you distracted by anything? Nothing. So when conditions are not there, will consciousness arise? No. And my teacher used to warn me, it's deep. Okay? I'm also going to warn you, it's deep. I hope I just want to encourage you to read the Buddha's, even with your bedside or whatever. And actually these Buddha's words there, explanations have visions in it. There are visions. People who read and leave it means they have not got it. All right? If you keep on after 1 week, 1 month, 2 years, 3 years, maybe with more, evolution of your system, more purity, you might see it in a different light and becomes clearer, in other words. And there's a very special levels of clarity that can come. It ends up in experiencing Nibbana or attaining Nibbana. So this is something I want to just explain a little bit. So this Bhante, Bhante is the one who I used to really like it, but when I was with him on a retreat, it made big sense. When he told me to go through it's called the Kanda Salayatana section. And it was 2 weeks I stayed with him, and that was a very special time. And this, what he prepared me for many years, like he explained this time to time. I really like to listen to that. These are small connections, like small, just the like how like craving and the skandhas, they go together. And if you take away the craving, how it cannot exist. These are small links and small points Buddha tells in a simple way, but it explains the entire being, entire existence. And it gives you, after you experience or get some insight into this, you not search for anything else. It's not possible, because it answers all questions. So this I think I explained. But then the important other thing is, to make it an experience, you have to change your way of life. Otherwise it will be just teachings you are hearing here, there, everywhere. But it's like same question, or you have the same doubt you have. These things won't become your personal experience. So for this, I think you have to make sure that you start enjoying meditation. That is like you learn to do work and live life without feeling tired or exhausted or like mentally drained by the situations, things you are going through. All right. So that starts early morning. You must have a lifestyle. Start this. Some people start yoga. Some people do exercise. All that. This you must start. I think early morning. Whatever, like you brush your teeth and wash your face. Like at least metta, compassion, meditation, and anapanasati, where you really master it. You get like an air conditioned effect in your brain first, to empty the thoughts. Now even people who have become great or done great things in this world, they consciously or unconsciously, they have been doing this practice where they empty their mind. And sometimes what they are postponing, they have learned to like remind those things in their empty mind. Even billionaires, they are doing that as they get up. They have done that, and that has a special effect on your brain. And you don't keep postponing what is important to your life. You start to do it in action. So this, I do not say like this, but at least you can empty your mind through metta, compassion. Okay, whatever you have to go through, just to and also looking at the breath, observing the breath. After that, so you leave more. You leave even the peacefulness you get from compassion meditation. Okay, spreading, visualizing. We have it in the sutra also. It's something you can start. And then also noting where you really went wrong in your life. Where you really broke the 5 precepts somewhere. Where you have to lie, you have to steal. Then you must note, I'm going to really stop this. And then when you get out, there are 2 practices if you want to really develop peacefulness and meditation. One is called sense restraint. Not to take things too much, learn to see things like, now when I look at you, I see your details, okay? Now if I look like this, I don't know if you can see my eyes, I'm not focused, okay? I'm seeing general crowd, okay? So for example, this is one practice I think you must learn to do as a yogi. What you want to, just to perform your duties, just to take that information. Like if you're crossing a road, like crossing, you have to see the vehicles, okay? But you don't have to see who is inside the vehicle. Like that you learn to, this is very important practice. This is actually will stop or lessen your monkey mind. Thoughts, coming like a flow of thought, that will reduce. So to do this, you find now the phone is a big, this thing, it's like, okay, you have to use for GPS like that. But it opens up to the sense world so much. So unless you're really disciplined, it's very difficult. I think it will have, you are inviting too much distraction and so on. Unless you really learn to, really for your work purpose. And now I see, even the blue light, someone told me, it affects the serotonin or in the pineal gland, I think, something like that. It damages your focus power. And so much, even dopamine, so much dopamine is this thing, YouTube and everything. Even you may listen to Dhamma, everything. But if you really want to really make this process of becoming enlightened or really experiencing this before you die, I think you have to prepare your body and mind to this. And the best thing will be you'll be experiencing to live peacefully. Even if you don't get, but definitely you learn to live peacefully and in a content way within you. So other one is to keep your attention in the present moment. That you have to master. Like even when you're driving, to hold the steering wheel and to feel the touch of the fingers to the steering wheel. Simple things. If you can focus for some time, you find a kind of a samadhi coming to you. If the feel of the back of the seat, the back touching to your back, the seat and the legs. So just to notice, continue noticing. And the simple things you see ahead, just to note that again and again. Your mind will run again to the future, to the past. This is some training is necessary. If you do that, you find a meditative mind start to enter you. I know people who have driven so far, because one gentleman, when he was in this vehicle, that was the last visit I think, so he's so talkative, I don't want to talk when I normally go with the behind the seat just to be alone in this part of, when I'm out of the Sri Lanka. So he just one time asked me, Bhante, how to meditate, like he's telling on the way I can teach him. So I thought, okay, I said, shall we do it right now? I told him. Then I said, he was talking other things before, and then he asked the last question like this. So I said, can you feel the steering wheel properly? The fingers touching the... He said, yes, Bhante. And then I said to feel the back of the seat and so on. So, and then just notice, what you have to, for driving, what you have to notice, but feel these two also meanwhile. He stopped talking. I wondered. I also didn't say anything, I just waited. And end of the journey, he said, I never experienced this peace, Bhante. And he started this, I'm sure he started this, but this is very important. Now later I got to know, so many miles they have been driving like this, because when they got a taste of this practically, you will just continue. So, but this is a start, this is very important. You learn to, any addictions you have, you learn to one by one, take away these things. So this is very important to, when you go out of your home, to start with that early morning, and then when you do the general activities to do with this mindfulness and sense control. First is staying the present moment, touch even the steps you take, again and again reminding yourself, and not to even want to think of something you have to do. You can little bit, few seconds you can think some strategy or something, but come back to this and face. So this won't come naturally. You have to remind yourself again and again. So this is, I think, very important. And other one is, I want to explain something. This is like the danger or damage of certain. Now I know one family where the daughter or the granddaughter was going through a hard time. She was very young. She's a special girl actually. I know her when she was very small, and but when she came to like 14, 15, she faced a very tough situation. Actually, they were very poor people, so they put her to a very big school, international school in Sri Lanka, and they didn't know that that though the education is good, the Western culture is very is going to be. So one of the sleepovers, one of the children, she had a bad experience, and after that later on her life also changed very much. And the parents were worried. And then one day she was coming to, then the parents want her to meet me. And when she came, I heard her grandma asking, did you take a bath? So I was wondering why she asked like that. And she said, yes, Acha. And then when she came and sat nearby, actually she told everything what happened to her. She has not been telling anybody. Like 2 years, she was addicted to the phone and seeing things which should not be seen, like that for that age. And she just revealed to me. And so recently she was getting the smell of I don't know how to say this, like poo or feces around her body. So you can just imagine, you can understand. In the last programs I told how you open up certain lower dimensions and you invite certain beings, and if your karma is weak and those enter your body, then you become addictive and you're controlled by these beings. All right, that those days I told this thing. But anyway, just to give an idea of that. So just to know the danger, and even serial killers you find, if you go when their last moment, the last testimony, when they're about to be hanged or whatever, they tell, I had a sick mind, or nobody treated me, or I was addicted to this. So this is like, you must know that in that way, not to allow even a little bit of that, so that you can, you have to get that feeling. If you don't have that, the strength, inner sort of danger about this, then you can't control your addictions and so on, So this is very important in that way to be, try to discipline oneself. And the other way I want to explain is even dopamine detox is nice. YouTube you can check dopamine detox. Under that you find lot of videos. Previously I also talked about no FAP. I don't know how many of this is not a topic talked by monks, I guess, but it should be, I think, be enlightened to the younger generation, even to elderly people if they are really still they have these certain problems, because this is a very important thing. No point doing all these good deeds and all these things, I mean, if you're arousing too much desires in you're creating like an atom bomb inside you of defilement. So this is very important. In the YouTube you'll find, I'm not going to explain this further. NOFAPP, okay, but that is a dopamine detox in, for good for about the phone and everything, how you should, sort of try to discipline in that. So I remember one special teacher, he explained about one time, like now you have adrenaline in your, like when you get angry or fearful, you get these adrenaline hormones created in your body, okay. So he once told us, Venerable, like when, say you have good thoughts, okay, meditation and say chanting and all this. So if it goes to a level where you are quite peaceful, and this something should also be created. Then he named this minus adrenaline. But of course, from my Hindu background, I happen to know there's something called ojas. Now this ojas is something, like very fine. Now he also told, like, ojas, it goes to your brain, it can travel to your brain and opens up areas which has not been working, and it gets deposited there, and then it creates those thoughts, it makes those thoughts to come again or to happen. So there's like an interrelation. You create those substance within you, and that makes those thoughts happen again. And then, so yogis you find, they make so much of that, so their body also changes. How it looks more charming, and even the skin, this black or white or whatever skin it may be, it has begins to have baby skin. And one thing I can tell, like you get a shine in your cheeks and your forehead. So I tell people, don't lose that shine. And but some people now, I got to know, they apply what is that? Nivea, or I don't know, or collagen, or what is collagen? I don't know. I found that you get shine from some kind of chemical also, but you do not get the charm. I'm sure you can't just artificially put something and pretend to be. It is related with your character. Even if you take a bath and all that, you don't get clean. You correct your life, then start showing your personality, as well as in your, the skin, if you want to be more beautiful and handsome or whatever. So this is some encouragement for you all to just check on your life and to really clear your, it's very important. Otherwise, no point to all these teachings. You will not see it, you will not realize it. And that realization will definitely burn those, impurities in a very strong way. And you will have a permanent state of peacefulness all the time, definitely, for sure. You will never regret following that way, because it will take you out of all types of, addictions and things like that. So these are the normal things I explain. Let's see, what's the time? There's like 6. I would like maybe a question from you all, maybe from that, others will be bored to say the same things I tell normally. I hope I'm not sure whether I covered. How many are 1 hour, 2 hours? Did anyone keep track?
Started about 5:15.
Oh, it's hour and a half. Okay, by right. Anything like to, if I remember what I have not covered, to tell you all? All of you got enlightened, or what happened? you know about Swami Vivekananda. It's a very, he became very known here. I remember, like, he became so famous, like, because, when he first spoke at the Parliament of Religion in Chicago, his voice, they say his voice is like a Chinese gong. It has that, something like an echo or something. So they couldn't record it, unfortunately, those days. They didn't have such an instrument. So, later they asked him, what was that power? Because, he just said Sisters and Brothers of America. And it just had a big, impact. And then they just wondered, who is this person? They said that we felt like paying tribute to him. We don't know what it was. So it's like, what was that? They asked later, what was that power, Swami? He said that in the yogic practice, there is a kind of you could say, like for 12 years, controlling your thoughts, not to have even a thought of sexual thought. Not to have even, it was too much for me when I heard that, actually. I can relate a bit with Mahatma Gandhi, was struggling and then how he was. But this person, so he said that not to even think, even thought, for 12 years. If you do like that, it's like a cover or something in your brain, it's been removed, he said. And there's a certain nerve which normally doesn't work in everybody. It starts to work, he said. And in that nerve has all power and energy and, like that, wisdom. So he said he also practiced for 12 years and that purity came out in that voice. That's a nice, interesting, just an idea, like. Anyway, if not Vivekananda, it's something we can try. We can become enlightened, most important. Anything you all want to ask? Yes?
We started talking about this last consciousness, the moment of consciousness, thought, and the last breath.
Yes.
So what happens after this last,
Okay, then you get the consciousness, then you get name and form. The name and form, so it could be, now sometimes some people talk about even the interim birth and all that, But I take it as still, because according to Paticcasamuppada, it is also kind of a name and, the name and form is there. The consciousness, name and form. So it could be, there are like some states where I got to know, like, you have, like you are in that kind of, not a clear birth, okay, not a clear form, physical and this thing, but like you feel like majority today it happens because they are not ready, preparing them for death. All right, so they are born in that state where they are still conscious and like say I die now, like with attachment and certain things. I am there and I am in not in that body, and I think what happened to me, like I'm in robes and this in that state. So I know of a certain one of my close people where I happened to research on that. So what happened when you see a mother's womb, proper womb to get properly another kind of enter there, but you feel like when you near it, it's like burning. And then you see a animal's womb, some dog or bitch or whatever, you feel cool and you feel comfortable. According to your karma, you feel. So that interim state also, my idea is that it is also, there is nama rupa consciousness.
In the interim state between.
I don't think we are ever free from this, nama rupa in any kind of existence other than when we become like nibbana, when we are without anything. So it's a cause and effect process. I think we can get a clarity from Bhante more. That is
the time of death, when the senses get disconnected, then the last thought that arises in the mind is very powerful. It's called gati nimitta. And it's like the nama in your mind reacts or clings to that object. So according to the karma, whatever strongest desires or strongest memories, let's say if you murdered somebody, then that might come into your mind, or any number of very strong thoughts, habitual thoughts. That last thought, as the breath goes out and the mind leaves the body, this thought comes, and the consciousness clings to that. And according to the Kama, that's like a magnetic force, and it's attracted to the destiny, like where you are going to be reborn, like you mentioned. If your karma is to be reborn as a dog, and that's what you saw, it might be then attracted to a dog's womb, or a human. Or in some cases, if you have karma to be born in a Devaloka, you would go to a Devaloka. So that name and form, that consciousness clings to that nimitta, and together it goes to start the new life. I mean, it's a very complicated thing to explain, but that's generally how it is to explain.
Actually, this Bhante, my teacher is not trying to even explain about, he wants to show that the conditionality of consciousness, and that it needs an object to rise, and that due to karma and we have craving nature to get distracted, so that the last moment that we are getting like that. So then if we don't have cravings, if we don't have any karma, how we will not be distracted, and the conditions are absent for consciousness to arise. To emphasize that, my teacher explained like that. This can become very meaningful if you ever happen to go through the suttas that made arahants. Actually these suttas are told, my teacher is to tell only when to monks. He doesn't tell lay people. If you want to attain like we have Sotapanna, I don't know, are you familiar with that? Like if you want to attain the marga, the path and the fruit, my teacher used to tell, read these two. He just short away, he used to tell. Only for monks actually. So if you happen to read them in solitude, I think better. And what I explained to you, I think it can, but he explained how you need conditions for consciousness, and if consciousness has no conditions, it can't arise. So it's like, Buddha takes away the causes. This is a very, very very special thing. Even Buddha, Bodhisattva, before Buddha, it was a big question how to escape from this rebirth process. And to escape from that, we have to escape from consciousness. First you must know what is rebirth. The consciousness is the one that, rising of it is the thing of rebirth. So to stop this, so the wheel of life is very special. We know the wheel of life, that. So actually those links also, it shows the impermanent cause created impermanent effect. So even those special links, if you meditate on in your walking meditation and all that, what is not written there and your experience could be very different, but it related with impermanence. And that's what leads you to, this, I tell, like, for example, if someone tells there's a snake here, and you look and suddenly you see the tail of the snake, you get a shock, right? Same way, these words, this connection, these words Buddha has told, if you happen to ponder meditatively, there are different levels, it will become clear that you have never seen before. And that creates that shock, that's called normally nibbindati. Nibbindati viracchati nirodheti nibbananti. So this is the one that, so I'm telling not to just read it, think a little bit and leave it. So actually if you're properly reading and applying to you, you will feel light. That's why it should be a personal application when you're reading these things. If it's just read like, too much, trying to get explanation through words, there are things you should not be explained. It should be allowed, because that's why I said when you read the suttas, don't try to understand, or it should just become clear. If it's not clear, you must skip to the other. You must try to not to squeeze the understanding, because they are like pointers, like things that will bring insight, intuition. So you must meanwhile do this meditation of emptying the mind and just keep reading, and you will find you will get that wisdom eye working slowly. You get glimpses of that wow experience. Oh, this is it. So this you have to go in that direction, then you will get it. Anybody else? I think Bhante must be very strict, I don't know. Because they do not seem to.
Yeah, question.
Yes.
Is it true that during Buddha's time, he didn't write things down, or nobody else wrote his sutras down until few hundred years later?
Yes, this actually those days it was in memory, right? And then
Yeah.
oral.
Was that done by on purpose, or was it?
No, I don't know about the history there, but according to what I know is that it was written in Sri Lanka,
I
Aluvihara.
wonder why it was not written at that time.
Next Buddha, when you meet him, you ask him that question. I don't know him.
Ananda was the one who
Memorized Dhamma.
produced before the Sangha.
Yeah, the Sangha. No, he's asking why it was not written. I don't know whether the writing was there.
There wasn't
There at that time, no writing. I think.
You couldn't go to Kmart and buy some notes.
Why do you ask that question?
I think there was writing at those
No, there was
2,500 years ago.
But that's no problem. You can take the sutta, write whatever is there now, and practice, and then you get the same experience at that time to now. It's possible. Then you know that I think the best way you know is the real original teaching. It's not written by somebody or something. Because if it works, but we don't know how to use it. That's the problem in the modern time. Unfortunately, we have too much defilements, too much hurry, and like that we're missing. I hope like this is pushes there and people who have the potential. Otherwise, this is all to face, to protect you, and to free you from great suffering, especially moment of death. And so it reveals those fundamental, deep truths about your being, your existence of the whole, not only you, of any kind of appearance in this world. So we have to make use of that purpose. Yes?
Thank you, Bhante. I have a question. So you mentioned that we should read the sutta with intuition, right? Not squeeze it. So will you know whether you are using your intuition?
Okay, understand. Yeah.
Will your heart know about it?
No, I understand. When you're reading some suttas, I think we can even try one. We can read, like when we read, first we must learn to relax the body. We must be in a physical relaxation. Okay, because if we are in a gross way holding our body and so on, then already we are not. So in a physical relaxed state, first must be practice. And when you're physically relaxed, and also when you're really relaxed and actually these programs and retreats, it's called Dhamma. I have named it that way because. So I see now everywhere they are getting, because this is like now like a machine gun. I see people all getting into liberation mode, hopefully. So when you have these books, like you must first relax, and if you're really relaxingly reading, you will notice your natural breathing process. Not that you specially now try to notice it. You use that level of attention, relaxed attention. So sometimes you may be holding your body here and there. You must really learn to physical relaxing is important, and also noticing your physical function mainly naturally. When you relax properly, then that is some standard in some right direction. Then when you read, not everything which deal with analyzing. Okay, I will just go through this. Okay, just page number 5. We don't have no word of the Buddha, right? If you get this book, this was okay. In this it is through not understanding, not realizing 4 things that I disciples as well as you had to wander so long through this round of rebirths. And what are these 4 things? They are the noble truth of suffering, the noble truth of the origin of suffering, the noble truth of the extinction of suffering. Now when you read these things, you have heard so many times. Okay, read as if you have never heard this before. Like you're fresh reading. Okay, this is how you have to go to this. So try to empty your mind with, simultaneously try to enjoy blissfulness, purity in the mind, that you have to continue, and then keep reading these things. And like you, in your normal life where you are overcoming addictions and learning to drive peacefully, in the moment, walk peacefully, talk peacefully, this without being tired, these things if you master, you are so slowly learning to appreciate very deep, profound wisdom. Okay, so noble truths of the path that leads to the extinction of suffering. As long as the absolutely true knowledge and insight as regard to these four noble truths was not quite clear in me, so long was I not sure that I had won that supreme enlightenment, which is unsurpassed in all the world, with the heavenly beings, evil spirits, and gods among all the hosts of ascetics and priests, heavenly beings. So Buddha says like this, wait. These four noble truths had become perfectly clear in me. There arose in me the assurance that I had won that supreme, unsurpassed enlightenment. And I discovered that profound truth, so difficult to perceive, difficult to understand, tranquilizing and sublime, which is not to be gained by mere reasoning, and is visible only to the wise. The world, however, is given to pleasure, delighted with pleasure. Now, why have we have to control the phone and all these things? Now, this is the main obstacle. We are normally so interested in pleasure and enjoyment. So I call mostly the reptilian brain is working. So the frontal cortex gets, not working properly. So truly such beings will hardly understand the law of conditionality, the dependent origination of everything. Incomprehensible to them will also be the end of all formation. So this kind of profound wisdom we are not trained in the modern times. Okay, so but if we purify ourselves, we will get an idea. So that's the other one, page number 10. Now when it comes to explanations like, these are like meditation objects where you can apply. What now? This is about the elements. Okay, now when you're reading this kind of thing, you can relax, look at yourself seated like from outside, and then come to a point where you notice your in-breath and out-breath. It should come naturally, not sort of immediately try to notice it. So when you are relaxed like that, what now is the solid element? The solid element may be one's own or it may be external. And what is one's own solid element? Whatever in one's own person or body there exists of karmically acquired. Now you see, you get an idea, the body parts don't come just by chance or karmically acquired. Sometimes you will give some medicine to certain part of the body, it's the sickness still remains. So that is karmically, that has karma behind it. Maybe sometimes the back pain, you have it never goes away. Maybe you have been a wrestler, like Buddha had a back pain. And acquired hardness, firmness, such as the hairs of the head, hairs of body, nails, teeth, skin, flesh, sinews. You have to visualize those parts in those color, whatever way you think it is, the color, bones like white and so on. Mentally it's there, right? You should, that really what is there you are trying to sort of imagine. Actually you are imagining the reality. Okay? Marrow, kidneys, heart, liver, diaphragm, spleen, and these things when you are reading, you must read with the idea of letting go. Someone full of greed and full of tension is not, you can't do this. So when you are visualizing properly, you will find you are letting go more mentally. And you will feel immediately a lightness. Okay? You don't feel tired reading this. If you are visualizing and doing and letting go, you will feel then you are in the right direction. But sometimes this can happen. When you are doing that, you will attach to that piece and reduce the analyzing and imagining the Dhamma. So this is the problem. It happened to me. Okay, so because that's pure, you must really exert pure more thinking. Then only the real standard of what we call yoniso manasikara. Okay, full attention, not going to any feelings, even of it may be good feeling or a healthy feeling. According to the Buddha, is called niramisa, but it helps wisdom. But if you just learn to enjoy the feeling rather than the analyzing, so you have to balance. You have to learn that. Okay, so if you keep reading and contemplating, then you can't stick to that feeling. So never stop reading. How much you meditate, that's very important. Then you will not go astray. Not reading everything. I'm talking about the Buddha's teaching. Okay, So then heart, liver, diaphragm, spleen, lungs, stomach, bowels, mesentery, excrement, and so on. This is called one's own solid element. Now whether it be one's own solid element or whether it be the external solid element, they are both merely the solid. Now this is the wisdom part. Okay? So whether it's what is in you, the solid what you call, whether it's outside. So there mentally you have to really, it's an exercise. It's about the real truth about this thing, that as you take them as a nature, it is the same. And when you do like that, then there's also the watery element, liquid nature. So if you have the blood and everything in our body and the water, the tap and in the river, so you mentally you have to go forth, to and forth, like you have to see my English is big problem, long time not speaking, okay, so you have to, at least you get an idea. I know but now I have been mixed with all this for long years, my brain, so the blood within you, the liquid nature and the liquid nature of the water, you must compare. Now when silently, calmly, when you are seeing that, you see they are the same. The urine inside you, when you put it into the toilet, so when it's inside you, in your body, in this space, you get that idea, this is my urine. But when it goes to the water and mix with that, so this way you have to really see, and that what happens is that part by part of your body, you can see it as empty. And the idea of that this is my body, this will fade away from you. That conceptualizing with unmindfulness and with ignorance will slowly disappear. So real wisdom is arising. This is what the purpose of this suttas are. So really relax and then more you're doing these exercises, the sleeping wisdom mind starts to open, and then only it matures and has that maybe spark of sight suddenly. Okay, insight. All right. So then and one should understand, according to reality and true wisdom, this does not belong to me. This am I not. This is not myself. So this is the main perceptions that you should get from doing that. So that's how you do. Do you get an idea like that? All of you, I'm sure, when you're reading, how you should apply. I mean, maybe in your bed you're reading relaxingly, and then learn to apply like that, and then you learn that it's not just going to be an intellectual exercise. And here, just as one calls a hut the circumscribed space that comes to be by means of wood and rushes, reeds and clay, even so we call body the circumscribed space that come to be by means of bones and sinews, flesh and skin. Very simple. Just an example, but there are simple. And when you have applied like that, if you are little bit stabilized in that contemplation, you will be able to apply in practical life. Someone comes scolding you, or this has happened to me. That's how it should be. It's not that you're pretending. That perception should work, and what you take from your five senses, you should not be distracted by that. That contemplation should be strong enough where you are. Then you're not making karma. Otherwise, no point knowing all these things also. That if you have to make them as a tool where you're not reacting. And then you also have peacefulness coming to your mind due to wisdom, and also you're not making karma. Yes? Yes.
Yeah, I don't have a question. I have a possible answer to the question the gentleman asked, is why
They're not written.
things were not written down. The language that Lord Buddha spoke in was Magadha. Magadha was a tonal language. Unlike all the other languages around, Magadha was a tonal language. It had no script. So later on, because Venerable Ananda and others memorized these things, they wrote it in Pali. But he did not speak Pali. He spoke in Magadha.
Magadhi Bhasa. So we have some scholars here. Any other question?
Bhante, how would you advise someone who's has an opportunity to kind of make a career change in like, I'm making a career change in like a year or two.
Career change or career journey? I'm sorry, I'm old now.
Sorry, like change jobs.
Okay, career change. Okay, I understand.
But like different opportunities.
Many options.
Yeah, many options. So, but you want to keep practicing to get insight. What would you advise are like the most important things to think about?
Okay, that is one thing. If you want to, how you can do the teaching, practice meditation, and have virtuous life, that's another good way. Which one you can, improve yourself, and which job will allow you that? That's a good way. You have parents also?
Yes.
You can also. How old are you? I know you in Western cultures, it's like, but they have a lot of gut feeling, to their children. So sometimes you can use their gut feeling. That's some things I used to. Like their wish, like what do you think, like put this question to them. What are the options you have? And this is also one way I would, I have some, then I can't tell you some other ways, but it can, give you some right answer in that way. Other one directly is like how you can practice the Dhamma, the meaning Dhamma when I say, and do the job. Then you have good intention in such, choosing also. And also, this is the way we should be going, that you don't have too much, that you get just enough for that you're not working all the time and, like just eating and sleeping. We must think something about ourselves, how we can develop, and try to find some time. So a job that gives you some time as well as just to support yourself, like that also you can choose. Other way, another mystical way, if you want my teach, if you have a problem, like to think about it in the night and practice compassion meditation, and maybe you get the answer in the early morning, the dawn time. That's another way. Yeah, but sometimes, are you in connection with your parents? So,
Yes.
you have good relation or not?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's why they are living. It's a good chance, you can put it to them. But also to see whether really the job, even the pay or the other things are good. But if you have, this thing that there's 5 precepts are broken, like lying, stealing, or killing. If you can avoid those, which will disturb your conscience. I think that's a very. Buddha says also some jobs don't take, being a soldier and what was it? I think hunting. Sorry. Butcher. Yeah, these kind of jobs. So.
Basically, it's right livelihood, which is the step of the Noble Eightfold Path. So if you're contemplating a new change of career, you should be very careful to have a job, as he already mentioned, that wouldn't cause you to have to tell lies or be untruthful or, doing things that are providing unskillful things for people, like, these jobs that were mentioned. But even in business, there's crooked business. People are cheating in business, they're not telling the truth about products and all this. And then you have to go home and sleep at night. So you have to be very careful and examine whatever kind of profession you're going to go into, if it really follows the right livelihood, because it's all about your conscience, and especially if you want to practice Dhamma, that's what's important. And if it's going to give you enough time and so on, that you'll be able to, have time to practice Dhamma and, maybe go on retreats from time to time. But really the right livelihood is probably the most important criterion, which would be having a job that wouldn't cause you to break any of the precepts. And I often give the example of, like, an innocent secretary. I mean, just keeping the books for a big company, for example. You'd think that'd be just a simple job. But nowadays, so many businesses are crooked and, wanting to make money, so a secretary might be doing the taxes for a big corporation. And the boss comes over and looks over the shoulder and says, why don't you change that $50 million income to just $5 million? And the secretary, she kind of, well, that wouldn't be truthful. And then the boss says, well, there are 10 people waiting for your job. So the person might feel, that pressure to keep a job just to do that. And so even in medical profession, there's so much deceit and wrong things even going on with doctors and in medicine, overprescribing medicine for people just to make money, drugs. So it's really a difficult market out there, So you really have to take care and maybe research whatever things you might have in mind to do.
Thank you.
I was thinking also, actually I did a job for 2 years. My father, that's the period I had to make my father happy. So in that, I remember, the main thing I focused was not to tell a lie, and also not to look at any ladies, to practice this whatever possible. And my teacher also told me like if you just allow the job alone, the work only, that same type of consciousness only get nourished. So to do the practice while you're doing the job. That was very important. Even I used to go to the toilet and kind of, chanting something, metta or some anapanasati or like that. I practiced something. And I used to come to the office and didn't take big responsibility. I was working as an auditor, so not too much. I used to allow my colleagues or friends to take over the projects and all that. Like that, just to keep the practice going. And but one time, I also made sure that I'm not going to lie. Like sometimes people plan to lie, we must plan to tell the truth. How if it comes like that, I'm going to preserve the truth. So it happened one time, one of my, one of the auditors, like our boss was far away, and then I was he used to call and ask, how our work. So this old person, very elderly person, one of the auditors. So when he got the phone, I had no work that day. So when he got the phone, the boss asked whether I have work. And then he said, no, I have told them already, please tell if he asks the way you see me, what is the truth about me. So they thought it's a joke also, because the initials, when I first came there. So then that day when he was near me with the phone, he said, the boss, that I had work. And I looked at him because I already programmed, I'm not going to lie. That was the one time I'm going to some other practice. I just looked at him and said, no. Like, he saw I was very serious and then he also got shocked, this simple thing, according to them. So later they gave me the phone and I didn't want to put him also down. It's not nice. So you have to be tactful when you're dealing there. So I told the boss, I have some books. Maybe he thought I have work, but I have no work. So later on, I found, they were shocked actually that I said like that. So all the auditors were meeting in another room. There's a glass cubicle, so you can see. I thought this now is going to be about me now. They're all talking about this incident. So finally, like one by one they came, and some of them had these good ideas. I found that in this office, like they come from remote area just to earn some money. They were doing this work, some in the university and so on. But they were just telling foul, language, all these jokes and all that. So there's one of the boys, they came and told me, I had the same ideas, but because of this crowd, I wanted to be with them, so I changed myself. But I didn't think a city boy they thought I'm a city boy, that he would tell the truth. So this was very good challenging for me that time. But I think we must not overthink too much also, because not easy, to find an exact, then you can become a monk, because you will psychologically find, but you must know you're not directly involved. Okay, and you must think also, even to feel that difficulty in your mind, so then I can make an alternative, think of it, how I can change. But not to dream that there's completely perfect, that will be not to be too. You have to learn to balance, to how you're thinking also, and also to think how slowly I could come to that final goal, that to make it more righteous and so on. But if it's really bad, if really very clearly the thing, then you have to make a decision to make. Is it okay, Bhante, like that? I don't know. What do you think, Bhante? This I had to advise them like that. I feel what they're facing in the modern times.
I think if you don't make any rash decisions, and usually oftentimes the right decision will come to you. If you wait, have patience.
And you're sincere, to really progress yourself and come out of this samsara, life and prepare for your death fearless. That's very important, I think. You have to. That's the final goal. You must really contemplate that. It's not something you should. Then I don't think you'll go ever astray. You will have the goal to. And while you're living, you begin to live a high quality of life, peaceful life, and a wise life. And I don't think you miss on life at all. Long answers, right? Any other question? Now we have, I think, come close to 2 hours or more than that. So any last two, three questions, then I think we can enter the last. No? Okay. I hope you all can get, I don't know whether you have Middle End Discourse by Bhikkhu Bodhi, the big book, but few suttas you can, go through that. I know some of you all are going through a lot of tough times. Okay, don't worry. What to do, it's how you take it. I know one person, I don't know. You just be happy you're breathing and living. That's very important, like that you have to face. If you make it mentally suffering, you have that physical situation, even mental, but if you make it too much personal, and if you learn to do that, this is the time you have the capacity to really, whatever, you're not getting anything but you can't handle. That's nature's law, you must think this way. And there you must bring out, bring out that somehow the living in the present moment, that's the important thing. Then, you will not, you slowly begin to build up that mental energy. Okay, one thing in the office I will tell you, I must tell this. Maybe I faced this one time, I have been meditating in this office, not doing my work really properly. Suddenly I found that the boss told me to give the assignment tomorrow. And which, actually our boss, the audit general manager, he told me to, that the firm is, they are telling they want the assignment tomorrow. And I thought I had like 2 weeks, 1 month, something like that. I have been meditating and doing these things. So nobody's giving me pressure. Suddenly, when I have never faced this kind of thing, So that time, those days in the evening, I used to look after my teacher in Vajrarama in Sri Lanka, the city. So daytime, I used to go to the office. And then I used to take lunch, dinner at my parents' place and go to the temple. Whole night I used to be there. So that day, when I got this information or this date where I had to give this assignment, tomorrow they said. So what happened, I have never felt, I suddenly had a headache. And when I was going to the monastery, I was like a zombie. And I just going, and then I was going to go and tell the attendant I'm going to take over that I can't tonight, that he has to do the looking after of attending my teacher. Just to give the message I was going. So it was in like the Gaur Road, I don't know whether Sri Lanka, like a highway or not a highway, along the road, there's so much traffic. Then I suddenly remembered I had to be mindful or do the meditation. So what did I do? What I am immediately experiencing, I started noting. Okay, so first is the vehicles going so much, and then I realized that the pain here in the head, right somewhere here. Then I looked, is the skin, and then the blood-like color inside the skull, And then also I saw the thought, tomorrow assignment. The thought is working unconsciously or subconsciously. And then this pain exactly, and then the flesh. I went into the blood, like that, visualizing the head area. More I went there, I was finding some peace coming. So I kept on looking at the skull and everything. And then I came closer to the gate of the monastery. Like I was getting this like super meditation. Like free from that thought and like, full of energy. And then I took over the night duty. And I was like, maybe I did over meditation, I would say. And then next day, I had no fear. That was still working in my mind, that peacefulness. And so then went to the finance controller. I went to her and told her when I saw her, I cannot finish today. Then she just told me, when you finish, you can keep it. It's like a miracle, because she's the one who put pressure to the. So miracles can happen if you live in the present moment, make yourself blissful, even if you had bad karma going to happen, because of your present tremendous good karma, things can change. This I had a personal experience in the office. So I hope you can practice wherever you have to be. Get the meditation into your daily life, That's, I think, will make a difference. Any last question? I think we will find. I hope I didn't.
So we have some 3 copies of Word of Buddha. English we have only a little bit, but we also have similar versions, so we can take.
So I see that even if you just read this book, like any Buddha's word, Buddha's teachings, I can see, according to my conviction and knowledge, we have, even when you chant the Buddha's, Pali language, we have seen people overcoming cancer and things like that. This is, with the meaning, some meaning, even if you little bit even know, it's going to make a big, I'm sure, according to how much you sit peacefully, meditating even, more than that, this can create a lot of more good karma, powerful karma. But if you get more understanding and, as I told you, relaxingly do these things, it can, really, create karma and suffering to disappear completely. So even entering the path. So I encourage you all, keep a bedside, do the metta, compassion meditation, and anapanasati, and reading to improve your wisdom and analyzing, contemplating, and keep your area of thinking in that line. If you go to too many explanations and so on also, then so have patience and learn to empty the mind and then give a thought from the Buddha's instruction. I think then you'll be on the right track, I would say, towards awakening, according to what I know. So I think everybody now almost got enlightened now, so so I'll be last. Something I want to sort of, I told you I'll give you all something, right? But I don't know whether Bhante would like to add something, Bhante?
Well, I was just going to say that, as he was talking about meditation and so on, we have regular classes of meditation here for beginners, as well as other people days of mindfulness and so on, where you can come and learn and practice.
I think
just check our website. We have, a website. I think a lot of you know it.
I saw Bhante's, one of the monks I saw with the suttas he has explained and with the practice. Very rare to find actually, but very senior, some very solitary, few monks like our teacher and even Polgas, the island hermitage, even Jnana Deepa, one forest monk who passed away some time back, they had it in memory, all the discourses and so on. But the way I just now explained, I see, the contemplating it, like having it will have a special effect in your, in your brain. As I told you now, when every exercise you do, something will be created in your, like I told you, ojas. Actually, when you're analyzing, something called tejas is more potent than ojas. Ojas, I told, like the Ayurvedic, like the energy, the tejas, it's more this thing. So when you're analyzing with wisdom, when you're close to wisdom, that sort of substance is, forming in your body, in your brain, and getting deposited. That is a very, now I don't know whether you know about one special monk like Vivekananda in a way, Somahamdro. He was like a very fiery, and when you go near him, you can get that kind of analyzing and alert mind, because that aura that's created from that, Now some yogis, the samadhi, and some who have analyzed, contemplate, that's a good company, is very important. It can fasten your evolution towards spirituality. So this can happen to you also. That's why you must know there's something happening in your brain and body that is positive and very positive, and definitely you will look much better, because you are now going more into the present moment, as well as you're really going, if you're really trying to contemplate and do those things, you're trying to, you're really transcending time, and it's an infinite area actually. So there could be infinite possibilities and blessings coming. Best time answer. Want to add anything, Bhante?
No.
No, man. I just want to, something I want to tell you, like tonight, try to not to talk until tomorrow morning. Keep this kind of certain energy, all right? Take some food, of course, night time, but I hope it will help your meditation and give you some push. So, certain for the meditation, I hope it will try to keep it. If you don't talk, because it's coming from those saints who didn't talk. So that energy is also so much in silence, like a concentrated silence. So it's actually now even this, that's why when you're analyzing, contemplating, the insights come from a silent zone. Okay? That's why in the retreats we tell so much to keep silence. The reason is your body is here, your contemplation will lead to extreme, because sound is a thorn, they say, for samadhi, concentration, first dhyana, the first concentrative experience. So actually sound disturbs for one to attain that. So when you're in first dhyana, it's normally you're free from the hindrances. Your mind is free from the reptilian brain. That's a very sure situation where your mind is really, free from it. So there's a great possibility of having that very special intuition. So that intuition, that's why it can come in a very silent moment. You will notice the silence immediately if you have an experience of it. It goes hand in together, silence as well as those experiences. In a very crowded sound place, I don't think it's very difficult to get anyone got quite enlightened. That's why Buddha tells to go to silent places, to stay in those places. Okay? So all the merits that we have acquired, I hope you can transfer to your parents, your relations. And there are hardly any beings who have not been your relation, from the lowest to the highest worlds. May they get a share of this good karma, that of trying to understand the Dhamma, and all the protective devatas, and Sahampati Brahmadiviraj, and also Sakkadeva, all the other protective devatas, invisible, visible, noble beings who are striving on this path, may they all receive this particular good karma. And they say crores of devatas, they say. This Tunkotyak Samyak Dristika, Alpeshakya, Maheshakya Samyak Dristika. Devatas, may they receive this good karma. And Naganagin, Devaraja Varuns, Devasenadipari Varun, Brahmaraja Varun. The divine kings, Deva kings, in all spheres who are protecting this pure teaching out of compassion to living beings, to humanity, that they will get this support for sure. And all people in this country, may they get inspiration of the Samma Sambuddha, and all other countries too. may they get an opportunity before they lose this human birth, that get a chance to experience this and come to peace and have fearlessness and go to happiness, to highest place, Nibbana. May the Devatas give protection and all bliss. And I hope all these merits that will support you to practice, and all my worship to my senior teacher. His picture is also here, who ordained me, Madhya Mahanahimi, and all the senior monks, all the Yativaran Mahansa, may I bow down to them, especially Bhante included in that. All the great masters who practiced and protected this teaching, may they get this strength. It's okay. It's okay. Just relax your body. May the old master, though he is not alive, may the human beings get inspiration, strength. May his compassionate goal, intention to humanity, may it manifest. Though he is not in flesh and body, through his dispensation, through practicing beings. It's okay. I need it little high. It's okay. I tell this is some ancient words about Buddha's footprint left in Sri Lanka. May that infinite energy and blessings of a noble master to the three worlds manifest to all living beings, even though he is not present in body. May my worship be to his noble feet. All people who are living here with all sufferings disappear. Gurudevan Mahansage Shaktiya Balila Betwa Therapy Matvetwa. May from the ancient land of Dhamma, may the people get the blessings of the Ocharob very soon for practicing that holy fleet. Utum Sri Pada Siddha Satyanta Dhairak Shaktiyak වෙන කාලයක් වෙන්න. සියලු දුක් කරදර දුරු වෙන වහන්සේගේ අනන්ත ගුණ බලය සියලු සත්‍යයන්ට ජීවමාන වෙන කාලයක් වෙන්න. සියලු කෙලෙස් දෝෂ දුරු වෙන කාලයක් වෙන්න. ගුරු මහතා ශක්තිය. සාරේ පෙර පින්මත් වෙත්වා. May this country and the whole planet get this support and protection. Just close your eyes for 5 minutes. Okay. Yeah, come also, Mata again. संसार मनोलोकटे सत्य लभित्वा गगन तले ज्ञाने शक्ति महाकरुणा गुणे संपत्तित्वा निवन सुलभत्वा धर्म शांति. Just keep another 5 more minutes. Close your eyes and wait. Relax.